Hi everyone, it's Helen Houtai here, founder of From Help, and we are on the Australian Government Department of Home Affairs website, and we are looking at the digital passenger declaration. Now, it says here that the digital passenger declaration has replaced the Australian Travel Declaration, or the ATD. Now, if you have an existing ATD account, you can access this in the portal. Okay, so we're going to have a read of what the digital passenger declaration entails. So as you can see here, these are the different topics that it will cover. So we'll start with the first one. So the digital passenger declaration, I'll just refer to it as the DPD, has replaced the Australian Travel Declaration. All passengers arriving by air into Australia should complete the DPD. You can start your DPD 7 days before your flight and submit it within 72 hours prior to your departure for Australia. This is because you must provide your health information and declaration, or your vaccination status and COVID-19 test result within 72 hours before your flight. Now, when filling out the DPD, you will need to provide your contact details, including a contact phone number in Australia, make a legally binding declaration in relation to your vaccination status, make a declaration regarding your last 14 days travel history, and make a declaration that you are aware of the quarantine and testing requirements that apply when coming to Australia and in the state or territory you are landing, and the penalties for non-compliance. So for penalties and enforcement, the DPD requests critical health information. You must be able to provide evidence that the critical information was completed before boarding the aircraft. This is an enforceable requirement, so a person who fails to comply with their requirement may be liable to a civil penalty or fine of 30 penalty units, which is currently 6,660 Australian dollars, and this is set out in Section 46 of the Biosecurity Act 2015. And giving false or misleading information to the Australian government is a serious offence, and if convicted, the maximum penalty is imprisonment for 12 months. Now, states and territories may also apply penalties in order to enforce compliance with public health orders. This may include COVID-19 testing and self-isolation or quarantine requirements. If you do not comply with the requirements, including pre-departure and post-arrival testing, you may face serious penalties, including jail time or significant fines, and requirements may change at short notice. Now, to complete your declaration, so you can complete your digital passenger declaration online, and you will need to create an account which will allow you to manage your current and future declarations in one place. Now, starting your declaration, you do not have to pay for the digital passenger declaration. It is free, but before you start your declaration, you should have the information below ready. So your flight number, your valid passport, travel history 14 days before the flight, destination and quarantine arrangements if required, COVID-19 vaccination record or acceptable proof you cannot be vaccinated for medical reasons, a negative COVID-19 polymerase chain reaction or PCR test or other nucleic acid amplification test test result within 3 days of the flight's scheduled departure to Australia, or a medical certificate as evidence of a negative rapid antigen or RAT taken under medical supervision within 24 hours before the flight's scheduled departure to Australia. Now, each passenger is required to complete a digital passenger declaration. Parents or guardians should complete a declaration for any child under 16 years of age. So anyone who is 16 years or older or over should complete their own declaration. Your digital passenger declaration outcome. So a completed digital passenger declaration does not guarantee your travel to Australia. Now, once you have submitted the DPD, you will see a summary screen that you must show either electronically or printed before you board your flight and on arrival in Australia. Now, check-in staff will review your health status, and it will either show complete or confirmation required at check-in. Now, if you receive a complete outcome, it means that the information you have entered in your declaration indicates you meet the COVID-19 health requirements for boarding, and you will need to show evidence of your documentation at check-in before your airline makes the final decision to let you board your flight. Now, if you receive a confirmation required at check-in outcome, it means you may not have met the requirements for travel to Australia and you need to be confirmed at check-in. So your airline will decide if you can travel. Now, if you are allowed to travel to Australia, you may need to quarantine on arrival. So before you start to complete your DPD, you should check the Department of Health website for details on the important health rules passengers need to comply with when coming to Australia. And all passengers should check the arrangements in both their place of arrival and place of final destination, as quarantine requirements are different in each Australian state and territory. And now for support, if you do need help completing your digital passenger declaration, visit the frequently asked questions page. I'm sure that will be very helpful. Okay, let's get into the DPD. Let's start the application. So if we scroll, okay, so it says you can complete your DPD online. So let's go ahead and check that. Now, as you can see here, there is some instructions here. So before you start, there's a whole lot of information here for you to read up on. And it says here, the DPD is not permission to enter Australia. Please check this link here for information about the requirements you must meet to enter Australia. Okay, so you can go ahead and sign in, or if you do not have an account, then create an account there. Okay, so for those of you who have not created an account, if you need to create one, it says, welcome to the DPD. Please review and accept the terms and conditions before you proceed. So go through, read all those terms and conditions. If you are agreeable, go ahead and select I agree and get started. Now, as you can see here, it says, hello, let's set up your account. So go ahead and put in your email address, your username, or enter a username, put in your password, confirm your password, and be mindful of the password criteria. So ensure it's 10 characters minimum, at least one number, at least one special character, one uppercase character and one lowercase character. Then enter your first name, your surname, and put in your phone number, and then select your contact method, whether it be by phone or email, and then proceed to continue. Okay, so we get to this section here, and as you can see here, it says to start your DPD, click the new DPD button. So we'll go there, select new DPD. So as you can see here, it says before you provide your passport, make sure you have your passport, vaccine certificate and test results with you, and an image, JPG, JPEG, PNG or PDF available to upload. Make sure the passport you are using is the one you will use for your travel to Australia, and dual citizens with Australia should use their Australian passport, and all other passengers use the passport that is linked to your visa. Okay, and then proceed to continue. Now, as you can see here, it says enter your flight details to start a new declaration, and if your flight has a stopover on the way to Australia, please enter both legs of the flight separately, and it says please enter your flight number and departure date, then hit the search button. So go ahead and put in your flight number, put in your flight departure date, and then hit the search button here. I'm going to go ahead and put one in. I will put in NZ 103, 21st of Feb. Okay, so as you can see here, I've put in a flight number and the flight departure date. Now I'm going to go ahead and click the search button. Okay, so it's found one result here, NZ 103 Auckland to Sydney on the 21st of Feb 2022. That is correct, so I'm going to go ahead and click that arrow there. Okay, so it says here review and confirm flight details. Okay, I'm checking. Departing Auckland, arrives, correct date, local departure date and time. That's correct. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm. And then the next section is information collection consent. So when you proceed to create a new trip in your DPD account for yourself or another traveller, we will collect personal information, including health and biometric information. So we collect this information for the purposes of fulfilling our immigration, border processing and emergency management functions. We also collect information on behalf of other government agencies. Now, during the process of completing a DPD, you will be asked to provide personal identifiers, including passport details and a photo of your head and shoulders, a selfie, and complete a liveness detection test. This data is used to confirm your identity and prevent fraud. And for more information about how the department will collect, use and disclose personal information through the DPD process, refer to the DPD privacy notice. So if you click on there, there will be more information. Now, the declaration about COVID-19 vaccination status. I understand that individuals who are more than 12 years and 3 months old, when their flight is scheduled to depart, are required under Section 44 of the Biosecurity Act 2015 to provide the declaration about the COVID-19 vaccination status. If I am more than 12 years and 3 months old when my flight is scheduled to depart, my declaration about my COVID vaccination status will be collected, used and disclosed in accordance with the Biosecurity Act 2015. I may be liable to a civil penalty under the Biosecurity Act 2015 for giving false or misleading information in my declaration. The consent I provide below does not relate to the collection, use or disclosure of information that is legally required, such as COVID-19 vaccination status information, and I declare that I am 16 years old or over. The information I've provided in the DPD is complete, correct and up to date. I have read and understood the information in the DPD privacy notice and the terms of use. If my circumstances change and the information I have provided in the DPD becomes incorrect, I will update my DPD prior to my arrival in Australia. And then, as you can see, it continues below, so I will let you read the rest of that. And if you do agree, then select I agree. If you do not agree, then obviously you select I do not agree. Okay, so as you can see here, you need to provide your passport, and the accepted files are JPG, JPEG, PNG, and then the max file size is 5 megabytes. So if your file is bigger than 5 megabytes, then it will not upload. Now you have the options here to upload your photo here, or you can enter your passport details manually. Okay, so I've just clicked on this option here. So if you click on that option, it will come up with options from your own files to select your photo. Okay, so if you're going to enter your passport details manually, this is the process you will be going through. So entering your family name, your given names. So put in your travel documents number. So in my case, it would be my passport number. Put in your nationality. And as you can see there, there's the drop down for you to select the nationality. So go through and find your nationality. Put in your date of birth as per the format here, so day, month and year. Put in your gender, select your gender. Put in the date of issue of your passport, so the travel document. Put in the expiration date, and again follow the format there. And put in the country of issue, and then you've got all these countries to select from. So the country that issued your passport. And then upload image of your passport, and then proceed to confirm and continue. So once you upload the image of your passport, you'll be able to confirm and continue. Now you'll come to the stage here, which is review your passport details. Now, as noted here, it says please review the details from your passports below. So check that your passport number is inputted correctly, your full name, your date of birth, your gender, your country, the date of issue, the date of expiration. Now, if there are any errors that need to be amended or fixed, press the go back button to amend it. So if, I don't know, maybe my name was spelt incorrectly, then I would go back and fix that error. And once you are happy with all the details, that they are all displayed correctly and updated, then go to confirm and continue. Now, in regards to uploading my passport photo, I uploaded it as a PDF, but I found in my case that it had exceeded the 5 megabytes. So I changed it to a JPEG, and once I'd uploaded that, it was actually within the 5 megabytes. And in my case, it was able to upload. Just a tip, I'm not sure if that's going to help anyone. So yeah, go ahead and confirm and continue if you are happy to proceed. Now the question is, have you been or will you be in any other countries in the 14 days prior to your flight? In my case, I'm going to say no, but if you have, start typing the country name that you have visited. Just say I visited Aruba. The first one there, Aruba. If you've visited another country, then select add a country, then again select that. If you've made a mistake, then use that icon there, the rubbish, to put it in the bin. Okay, so we'll continue with no and select continue. Okay, now, so as you can see here, we are in the planned movements stage. So the first question is transits in Australia. Are you transiting through Australia to another country? Select yes or no. Now I'm going to select a yes, and the questions that come up for that are, if you are transiting through Australia to another country, select the length of time you will be in transit. So go ahead and select. Final destination country is required, so put in the final destination country, and then the expected departure port from Australia. Okay, so if you answer yes to transit in Australia, expect these questions here. Okay, I'm going to put in no. So for the next question, interstate travel. So within 14 days after arriving in Australia, or within 14 days of leaving quarantine, do you intend to travel to another state? Yes or no. So I'm going to select yes. Now, if you have selected yes, it says please select one or more states and or territories that you will be visiting. So you've got the options here, and just place a check in the box. Now for the travel intent question, do you intend to live in Australia for the next 12 months? If you do select yes, these are your options here. I'm going to select migrating permanently to Australia. Okay, and then you are required to put in your occupation. Now if I selected visitor or temporary entrant, these are the questions that you should expect. So your intended length of stay in Australia. Okay, so put in whether you're going to be there for years, months or days. Your country of residence, so add that in. Your main reason for travel, then select from one of those options. And then again, put your occupation. Now, if you select a resident returning to Australia, then it will ask the country where you spent most of your time abroad. So make your selection. Your main reason for travel, again, select from those options, and then put in your occupation, and then select continue. Okay, next you will need to put in your contact details, and underneath it says help us reach out to you. So go ahead and put in your intended address, and if you need to enter your address manually, there's an option there. Put in your contact details in Australia, so phone number, email address, your preferred contact method. Your options are phone or email, so make a selection there. Your emergency contact details. So emergency contact details can be in Australia or overseas. So put in your emergency contact details, given names, their family name, their contact number, their email address, and it looks like it's maybe their address, or you have the option to enter their address manually. Once you've done that, confirm and continue. Next, you will come to review trip details. So it says, please review your trip details below and make sure everything is right. So you have your flight details there, so you can click on that down arrow there and check those details are correct. The same with the passenger identity, travel history, planned movements and contact details. Once you are happy and have ensured that everything is correct there, then go ahead and submit trip. Okay, and then go to submit trip, and it will come up with this message here. You will only be able to amend contact details once you have submitted your trip. Okay, that's fine with me. I will proceed to continue. Okay, now we've come to this part here. We can see that the trip details have been submitted. Now we need to do the quarantine details. So go ahead and click on quarantine details. Okay, so as you can see here, it says quarantine details. So we need you to answer some questions about quarantine in Australia to help fast track your accommodation requirements. And you can update your answers at any time before you check in for your flight. So the quarantine declaration, and it's required for some flights. So it says your quarantine declaration will be shared with state and territory authorities in line with our privacy policy. A warning here is penalties apply for breaches of state and territory health orders. Which quarantine arrangement applies to you on arrival in Australia? So please review the requirements of the state or territory of your arrival prior to you answering this question. So detailed information is available at states. So if you click on that link there, it will take you to it will give you options for each state. Now note, you must comply with public health requirements, including post-arrival testing and quarantine requirements in the state or territory of your arrival and any other state or territory that you plan to travel to. Now some states and territories require approval prior to travel. I have checked the quarantine requirements of the jurisdiction of first arrival and any other domestic jurisdictions I intend to travel to. I have made quarantine arrangements prior to my travel where required, and then select one. So ensure that you do check the requirements for the states that you will be entering before you go ahead and click one of these. So if you click on government managed quarantine, state, territory, hotel quarantine, these are the questions that you will have, and the questions are: do you wish to quarantine with any other passengers? Yes or no. Answer provided will assist with the quarantine planning. Example, if your family wish to quarantine together. Will you require medical or other assistance while you are in quarantine? Actually, I'll come back to this one. If you do answer yes, it will have how many people will be in your hotel quarantine room, and will you require medical or other assistance while you are in quarantine? If you do say yes, then these are the questions you should expect next. So do you need to see a doctor when you arrive? Yes or no. Do you have any pre-existing medical conditions? Yes or no. Will you require additional prescription medication to cover your 14 days in quarantine? Yes or no. Do you need mobility aids or assistance? Are you suffering from mental health conditions? Are you pregnant? Are you caring for a baby? Do you suffer from any allergies? Do you need an interpreter during quarantine? Do you require any other assistance? Okay, so I'm going to go back a bit. So I'm going to answer no and no there. And if you opt for other quarantine arrangements, including home quarantine, then nothing further comes up. We'll have a look at, okay, and if you select quarantine-free arrival, which is fully vaccinated only, and it's not available in all states. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and select quarantine, free arrival, fully vaccinated only, and proceed to continue. So it comes up with a review and confirm quarantine declaration. So the warning, so penalties apply for breaches of state and territory health orders. Which quarantine arrangement applies to you on arrival in Australia? So please review the requirements of the state territory of your arrival prior to answering this question, and detailed information is available at state. So it's pretty much what we just read on the previous page. So quarantine free arrival is what I selected for the fully vaccinated only, and it's not available in all states. Okay, and once you're happy to submit, then select submit. Okay, so as you can see here, the trip details have been submitted, the quarantine details have been submitted, and the health information is locked. Now, the reason why the health information is locked is because I have 4 days remaining to complete my declaration. This will become unlocked once there are 3 days remaining before my departure. So if you are in the same situation as me, once you get to that 72 hours before departure time, come into the health information and put your information in there. So that's as far as I can go at this stage. So come 3 days remaining to complete my declaration, I can come in and add my health information. So I'll be back when there are 3 days remaining to complete my declaration. I will give you an update, but that's it for now. Hopefully the steps that we have covered will help someone who may need the help as they are going through their DPD. Just a reminder that I don't actually work for the Department of Home Affairs. So if you do have questions, I'm not an expert and I do not speak on their behalf, but what I do share with you is just my personal interpretation of things, or how I would personally do something. Okay, everyone, thanks for listening, and yeah, look out for the last part, health information.